Some people are getting their necks blacked out and ending up absolutely hating how it changes how their face looks. And other people are getting an insane amount of hate for getting tattooed like this. Today we are talking about neck blackout tattoos, why some people love them, why some people hate them, and why people are getting tattooed like this in the first place. We definitely have a lot to get into today, but really quickly, I want to thank today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare has hundreds of detailed classes in things like photography, film, video editing, illustration, but they also have career-focused classes. And learning a new skill could be your first step in taking a new career jump or getting into a creative industry. Right now in my apprenticeship, I've been learning a lot about script and I want to get into calligraphy. So I found this class on Skillshare. It's called Strong Lines, getting comfortable with the Pilot Parallel calligraphy pen. And this is a really cool class all about how to use these type of calligraphy pens. I love the style of this writing, and it's something I would love to learn how to tattoo one day. And the Pilot pens emulate tattooing with a mag. So I think this is going to be really awesome for me to explore. And I found this all on Skillshare. They really have so many creative classes for people who want to explore their artistic side, but they also have really cool classes on marketing and the business end of things, which is really important for working artists and something that definitely gets overlooked. So if you are interested in everything that Skillshare has to offer, the first 1,000 people to click my link down below will get a 1-month free trial to Skillshare. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video, but let's get straight back into neck blackouts. Firstly, I want to talk about this TikTok user who got a neck blackout and really didn't like how it came out. So this is TikTok user Space at Midnight. And back in January, she posted a few videos about her new neck blackout tattoo that she really didn't like how it came out and how it changed the shape of her face.
I just got this neck tattoo. It's not finished. It's supposed to go gradient down lower. And I'm having a whole entire identity crisis. Because it slightly, nobody else would ever probably notice but me, but it slightly alters the shape of my face. It's not me. And y'all are probably like, well, what do you think you're gonna get? It's a bold tattoo. I drew it on, painted it on so many times. But the difference is, when I drew it on and colored it on, I would always when you lift your head super far back, you can kind of see where your jawline is, like your throat. And I would always follow that. So it would always be below my jaw, not over. That ever so slight difference of it being below my jaw instead of over my jaw made a world of difference. Because if it's on my actual face, that's part of my cheek. My jaw does this little motion here. You can't see it, it's rounded off. So I feel like my face is smothering into my neck. Anyways, I'm just having a hard time coming to terms with this, but unless there's a solution I don't know about, please, if so, let me know in the comments. Then this is my new face, and I just need to rock it with confidence. So,
and like she said in the beginning of that video, it's a difference that most people really wouldn't notice except for her. Obviously, because you look at your own face so much, you're really familiar with the tiny little details. My first impression of her neck tattoo was that it looked fine, but then when she turned to the side, I did understand where she's coming from when she said it looks like her face is just smothering into her neck. It does feel like the black is coming up a little bit too high. And like she said, this is a work in progress, so they're gonna go further down her neck. And right now there's just shading kind of at the bottom half of her neck, which doesn't look great, but it is temporary. And a lot of people have a lot to say in the comments. Someone said, why did you get a neck beard tattoo? I'm really confused. What about this seemed like a good idea? Amish beard tattoo? No girl, when you turned to the side, I gasped. She cut off half your jaw, it looks like. On a more positive note, someone said, sweetie, it's swollen. I have a black neck. Give it a few days. If you still hate it, you can go over options. Breathe in and let go. This has happened. It will look better when the swelling goes down. This moment will pass and you will be okay. Some of those positive comments are really reassuring. They're probably coming from people with significant amount of tattoos who understand what she's going through. And I assume the negative comments are coming from people who just have no knowledge about tattoos in general. And to just be like, oh, it's an Amish beard tattoo. Like, imagine being that person and seeing those comments. Like, I'm sure that would be really hurtful. And Space at Midnight seems like a really kind, genuine person that's just sharing her experience. And she ends up making another video in response to this comment. So the comment says, didn't she draw on a line of where to start first for you to approve it, or just went for it? And this is what Space at Midnight had to say.
They did stencil it on. I even have a video of that. I can post it. They did stencil it on. I did approve it. I looked in the mirror and approved it. But I will say we were both so excited. She was so hype. I was hype. I looked in the mirror for like 2 seconds. I was like, yeah, let's go. But the thing with the stencil, the line, when you just draw the line on, because like I've said, I've drawn this on myself quite a few times, and I'll probably post those pictures as well, just so you guys can see what I mean by the difference, so you know I'm not going crazy. When you just draw the line, it's really hard to visualize what it's all going to look like until it's colored in. It's a major tattoo. I should have been analyzing the crap out of this. I should have colored it in, visualized it, made sure I was like 100% sure. And it was just a lapse of judgment. I don't want any of that to fall into the artist. That's not the artist's problem. I'm the one who had the vision. They had their vision. I had mine. I did send reference pictures. I was very specific about the placement. But at the end of the day, I said yes to the line.
So Space at Midnight said that they did draw the line on and she approved it. And she talks about that excitement when you're getting a tattoo and how excited you are and how excited the tattoo artist is. And I think a lot of you can probably relate to that. When you're in that state of just being like so excited, you just want to start this tattoo, you're not necessarily thinking super critically. And that's really understandable. Space at Midnight is just such a kind and empathetic person. This really reminds me of the user from Tattoogate, how they were so insistent that this is not the tattoo artist's fault. And in this case, I don't think it's the tattoo artist's fault. In Tattoogate, that was the tattoo artist's fault. But like Space at Midnight said, they approved the line. So she doesn't think that the tattoo artist should get any hate for that. We don't really have a lot of information on Space at Midnight. I'm not even sure if this is her original account. But I would love to know, like, if she has other tattoos, if she has other blackouts, because I do think it fits her and it looks good on her. I would love to know, like, what she does for a living. There's a lot of questions I have, and I'm sure a lot of you have as well. We just don't have answers to those. And the comments are generally supportive of her. Someone said, so many times I've gotten tattoos, got it stenciled and approved, then looked at it after and noticed things I didn't before, so I totally get it. Someone else said, I feel so awkward inspecting the stencil while they watch. That's also a really interesting point and something I've learned from my days in permanent makeup. Permanent makeup artists will often like stencil your brows and then leave you alone to look at the stencil or tell you to go to the bathroom to look at the stencil. And I think that's an important step and something that tattoo artists should incorporate into their process, especially for tattoos on the face or like really visible areas. I think this is a really important step for the client to just be alone, and I think that could alleviate some of this like excitement and energy that makes you jump into a decision. And then Space at Midnight goes on to show some of the ways she would draw the neck blackout on before getting tattooed.
I'm just showing this to demonstrate what I was talking about, but the artist is not at fault. I want to say that a million times over. They stenciled it on. I approved. This is just me showing where my perspective was.
In that first image, you can really see the difference between how she wanted it to curve around her jaw versus what actually got tattooed, which is sloping in front of her jaw. I think that's probably the biggest problem with this tattoo. Otherwise, the artist did a good job. In the second photo, I think it looks really good and accurate to how she drew it on. And in the third photo, I think the artist did a good job going around the jaw. Just seems like on that one side, they went a little too high. And from the artist's perspective, like you want to at least start the line where the ear is. Because in her photos where she drew it on, it doesn't even touch her ear. But it's like you can't really have that space if you're doing a blackout. And in the last slide, she writes, I just want to reiterate that the artist is not at fault. I wanted a full blackout. I knew the blackout would be more dramatic, and that's what I was wanting. I'm just learning the new curves of my face. I'm not mad. I was just going through a little shock. I mean, she's handling this so well, so maturely, and so kindly. And I understand, like, this is a difficult situation. It's not like the artist was malicious in where they put the line on this person's face. So if she were to get laser, she could just do that one side and get like an inch or so taken off. And I think she would be happy with the result if that were the case. Obviously, going through laser is a huge process, but I mean, this is gonna be on your body and how your face looks for the rest of your life. So it might be worth investing in laser treatments and further touch-ups to get it right. And in the comments of this video, a lot of people are saying she's being too kind to that tattoo artist. Someone said, you are too nice and shouldn't be taking full blame, maybe partial since you approved it, but they are partially to blame as well. Where it starts at the ear, it might be an inch difference. I think you're being way too kind about it. No, it's the artist's fault. How could they not follow your bone structure? This is so upsetting. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. And unfortunately, that's where Space at Midnight's story ends. We don't have any more updates from them. We don't know how the tattoo ended up being changed, if she went through removal. We just don't have answers. I hope that the swelling went down and she was able to go through the process of making this tattoo something that she really loves. There's another user on TikTok that documented the process of them getting their neck blacked out, some of the reasoning as to why, and this is a really interesting story. So this is TikTok user CJ Mack, and in a video that has over 10 million views, she documents getting her neck blacked out.
Update. This is an update. I hate this. I want to go home. I'm so done. Got this little corner left. Sorry, I'm shaking, but we're done. That was brutal.
And in this video, you can see how drastically different the edges are from Space at Midnight's tattoo. So this one starts behind the ear and goes really far down and curves under the jaw, which is probably what Space at Midnight was looking for. And I also like how there's that clean line on the back of the neck. It really shapes that area very nicely. And she did this in one sitting. So I can't imagine how insanely painful this would be to get done. Like, this tattoo is super solid. Clearly, she went to an artist that does really great black work. And you might think just packing black into someone's skin would be easy to do, but this is actually incredibly difficult to pull off well and get a fully saturated area of black. The artist really needs to pay attention to what they're doing and spend a lot of time tattooing the skin. So this must have been incredibly painful. And in the caption, CJ Max says this was done by Hannah at Black Vulture in Philadelphia. So like I said, this TikTok got a lot of views and the comments are all over the place. Someone said, imagine walking in the dark and people think your head is floating. Me covering up my double chin. We really need to start judging people again. You don't have to match foundation to your neck anymore. The forbidden turtleneck. Someone said, I'm so creative and different. Gets a big black patch as a tattoo. Someone else says, well, you did it. You got back at your parents. And I hate to be that person, but it just seems like these people just don't get it. Like, you wouldn't commit to doing this if you didn't really want it and respect this art style. And CJ Mack ends up making a video answering all of the top comments that she got on this video. And here's that.
How bad did it hurt? It's the worst tattoo I've ever gotten in my life. I mean, it's one of the best artistic tattoos that I've ever gotten. I'm so happy with it, but more than just the pain, the positions that I had to be in to get this tattoo were really uncomfortable, and having my throat basically like choked out the entire time that I was getting tattooed was really, really, really uncomfortable. Why did I get it? Because I wanted it. Leave me alone. What does it mean to me? It means that I can sit for 6 hours getting my throat blasted and make it through. That's what it means to me. I don't know. It's a black tattoo. What else is it supposed to mean? How long did I sit for? 6 hours total. There were like 5-minute breaks in between. Did I use numbing cream? No, actually you can't use numbing creams when you're getting a blackout tattoo. Numbing creams are fine for like regular tattoos, but especially a blackout tattoo on your neck. My tattooer said that she would not recommend using numbing cream or like any of the numbing sprays because it does change the texture of the skin a little bit and it can make it like really hard to pack the ink in there.
So CJ Mack talks about getting this tattoo. She sat for 6 hours, used no numbing cream, which is intense. And with these heavy black work projects, sometimes the experience of going through that is a part of the tattoo. I have a video on the Brutal Black project, which is all about the experience of getting a really difficult and painful tattoo. But for some people, this is a part of the art style. And CJ Mack got this at Black Vulture in Philadelphia. And this tattoo studio is really well known for their black work artists. The tattoo artist Hood works there, who is like the black work artist. He's done a bunch of interviews with Inked magazine. He does like full body suits of black. And like I said before, just blacking out parts of your body might seem really simple, but this is incredibly difficult to perfect. And Hood is an artist that has perfected black work. I feel like this sounds weird to say, and it sounds really old school, but this is a respectable way to be tattooed. And it's definitely not everyone's style, and not everyone's gonna love this tattoo. But for the people that do love it, like this is incredibly well done. And it's quote unquote done right. Like she didn't use numbing cream, she sat for the entire session. It was painful, but she got through it. And while I personally wouldn't get any significant blackouts, I do respect the style of art. Generally, people seem to be in favor of this tattoo. People said those lines are clean. At least you'll look cool forever. She did such a great job, so dark and smooth and even. And I like how CJ Mack said she got it because she wanted it. That's all that she needs to say. It's not like she went into this decision lightly. I'm sure she took a lot of time thinking about getting this done. Just because this tattoo isn't for everyone doesn't mean that it's not for some people. Like realistically, there's no like deep meaning behind like the color black. It's more about the art style. And a lot of the comments talk about how they can imagine the healing for this tattoo being very difficult. And CJ Mack definitely agreed with that. She has a long healing process ahead of her. And she made a few videos about her healing. It definitely seems pretty intensive and like you would need to really be careful with this tattoo for a few weeks after getting it. I can imagine this tattoo just being the itchiest in the entire world when it goes through its itchy stage, and having your whole neck so itchy sounds like torture a little bit. And then CJ Mack made another response video to the question, in the most respectful way, did you get this because of a neck insecurity? And can you stand in front of a black wall in all black? And this is what CJ Mack said.
I guess I'll answer this in 2 parts. No, I did not have any neck insecurities. I liked my neck. I don't get tattoos because I'm insecure. I get them because I want them and I think that they look cool on my body. And then for part 2, okay, here we go. Is this what you wanted? Just my floating head?
The floating head is definitely a very interesting element to this whole neck blackout. And I wanted to play this video because CJ says she doesn't get tattooed because she has insecurities. She gets tattooed because she wants tattoos. And that's great and valid and definitely how some people get tattoos. But some people do get tattooed out of a place of insecurity in order to help them with those insecurities, which is absolutely not an issue at all. Both of these ways to get tattooed are totally valid. But blacking out a part of your body, you might see why people would be like, are you insecure about that part of your body? Like, why don't you want to show it anymore? Why do you want to like permanently cover your neck up? So it makes sense to ask that question. And there's another TikTok user who has a very different point of view, who just paints their neck. And I wanted to go into their perspective. So this is TikTok user Jay, whose username is mayhemjr_13. And they initially made a tutorial type video on how they black out their neck.
So today I'm going to show you how I do my black neck paint. Realistically today I just do not want to be talked to unless you are also alternative, so I'm going to paint my neck black and then just pick up the product and you're going to stipple till the cows come home. Okay, and that's how I do it. I've done it before where I fade it down, but today I plan on wearing a t-shirt, so I don't really need to fade it. So this is my makeup for today, and if you don't like it, well, honey, it's not meant for you, so.
I assume Jay did get a lot of negativity for this video because they have since turned their comments off. But I think there's a lot of interesting things in this video that Jay talks about. Jay started out the video by saying that she doesn't want to be talked to unless you're also alternative. And then she ends the video by saying if you don't like it, it's not meant for you. So clearly this makeup look is a little bit divisive, and I'm sure Jay has gotten negativity for doing makeup like this. Realistically, it's just makeup. You can do makeup however you want. No one needs to decide how you do your own makeup. And it seems like Jay is coming from a place where she wants to distance herself from like the general public. And this makeup look is very different from what most people would wear. And that's not to say that anything's wrong with that. But Jay then made another video addressing some questions she got on her original video.
Why do I paint my neck black? I have a lot of issues with my body, and I made a whole nother video explaining everything I do that changes the way my body looks and helps me with my body dysmorphia. But this is one of those things because my entire life I was told like double chins are ugly and all of this stuff. And the only way I felt like I didn't have one was to black out my neck. And where did I find it from? Is the next question. I started seeing bands like Motionless in White doing it when I was rather young, and I thought it was really cool, and I dove into where it came from. Where did it come from? It came from Norwegian black metal. I got very into Norwegian black metal, had my own specific corpse paint to my face in particular, and I couldn't feasibly wear corpse paint every day, so the blacked out neck is the one thing I kept from it. Yes, I plan on getting it permanently tattooed. However, being a teacher, can't do that because they're already pissed off about my arms. I can't even imagine how they would feel about me walking with a black neck. If you think that I'm a poser or whatever else because I painted on, I don't have it tattooed, whatever. The only thing I have to say about that is let's stop gatekeeping the community that all of us are a part of. We all have to work for a living. We all have to do everything else, and not all of us can tattoo our necks black.
I think this is interesting because it's just coming from such a different place than CJ Mack was. But essentially they have the same goal. They like the style. Jay said that she would like to tattoo her neck black at some point, but she just can't do that feasibly with the job that she has, which is so understandable. And I don't know why anyone would hate on her for not tattooing her neck. Like, tattooing your neck is a huge decision, and just painting your neck black sometimes is a great alternative if you can't get it tattooed right now. I don't think it's a problem to come from a place of insecurity and want to cover up a part of your body with tattoos. I definitely had issues with my body image and my self-confidence before I got tattooed. And being tattooed has made me feel so much more confident in my body. And if blacking out your neck does that for you, I don't see that as an issue at all. And on the last video we saw, she also turned off the comments. Probably a lot of people just really don't understand why she's doing this. They don't think it looks good. But like she said, if you don't like it, it's not for you. And it's also not anyone's place to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do with their bodies. And Jay also brings up corpse paint, which is really interesting. Like she said, this is popular by black metal bands. Most famously, as an example, I think you can take Kiss. Usually it's black and white, sometimes red. The goal is to make them look like corpses or like demonic, a little bit scary. It's really just like a style, it just happens to be alternative and not a lot of people wear it. But if you think about like people emulating celebrities, say like Taylor Swift gets a new haircut, and a bunch of people will probably go and do that. This is essentially the same thing, just in like very different worlds. Usually when we think about blackouts, you think about people who have tattoos that they don't like anymore and they want to get them covered up. And that tattoo artist that I spoke about before, Hood, did an interview with Inked magazine where he said 75 to 90% of his clients are getting blackouts to cover up older tattoos. And Hood said sometimes the clients are sick of the person who did their tattoos, but sometimes the clients are just sick of the tattoos on their skin. And most of his clients are just really determined to get it completely covered up. But obviously the people we've spoke about today, they weren't covering up their tattoos. They just decided to go straight into blacking out their necks. Obviously, some people don't think that it looks good, some people don't like the tattoos at all, but those people are doing it for themselves. Realistically, I feel like I've said this a million times on this channel, tattoos are for you. You don't need to explain yourself or have any significant meaning to them. If you really want this, it is your body. I can really appreciate this style of heavily black work tattoos. I personally think it looks good. But with that, I would love to know what you all think about the neck blackouts that we talked about today, but also just blackout tattoos in general. Do you have any blackouts? Would you get any blackouts? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. That link will be in the description box down below to get your 1 month free trial. But if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you have, leave me this emoji in the comments so that I know that you are a real one. Bye everyone.